Hi, welcome to the channel, Budget Audio Review and Upgrades. Today is a review of this Sony STR 7015 receiver. First of all, I'd like to say Happy New Year to everyone. And as everyone's saying, let's hope this is a much better year than last year. Okay, so we've got Sony STR 7015 receiver, made in about 1976 in Japan. I'm not too sure what this would have cost back then, probably about $130, $140, something like $130, £140. I'm guessing a little bit, something like that back then. What I will do, if you want to skip just the actual sound review, so to speak, what I thought of that, then I'll put a thing in now, you can see where you got to skip to, because I'm actually going to take this apart. I'm not going to spend too much time, I'm going to whiz through it a bit, but you know, if you want to know how to adjust DC bias and DC offsets and all that kind of stuff, I've got a separate video of me tearing down a Sansui Sansui AU101 and doing that to that in a bit more detail. But I will go through it quickly here as well. Just wanted to show you how I got it as well and what I've done to it, because it's kind of like been semi-serviced, I would have said, you know what I mean? Like I've got a video about, you know, proper full service, so to speak. It's kind of semi-service, but I'll give you a dusting and cleaned up. A few bits, a lot of dust inside this front panel and it. Anyway, it'll be all in this video. And other little bits and pieces that hopefully you may find interesting. Okay, so yeah, it's only 15 watts a channel, like I said, made in 1976. We're going to take these 4 screws at the side off there. I won't show you how to do it. This top just comes straight off. There's a picture inside of exactly how I got it. And as you can see, there's quite a bit of dust at the back, which is to be expected really, because it's got a back vent kind of halfway down the receiver towards the back. If it was kept in a cabinet or something like that, then probably wouldn't be so much dust maybe. But you know, for how old it is, there weren't particularly a lot of dust, but there's a fair bit, I suppose. There you can see that there's the dust, and just for a matter of interest, in case anyone wanted to replace the bulbs or lamps in this, you can see a couple of arrows there pointing one to a normal like fuse type bulb, which is just 2 clips that put out, and that bulb will be replaced easy. And the other one is a little bit more. You kind of got to fiddle it out. It may be stuck in. It's like a mini bulb type kind of thing, like a little mini bulb. You may have to give that a little tug or something. It's a stereo light to replace that, to put it out, and just use a bit of glue. When you put the new one in, a little bit of soldering goes on with that one as well. But fairly straightforward. As you can see, there's the transformer. Got plenty of dust on that. Dust right at the back there. So yeah, just a little bit of cleaning. Like get me little brush out, my little paintbrush. Quite a soft paintbrush. Obviously, take a picture, overhead picture like I did before you start. Be gentle, go around it. You know, it depends how far you want to go. You could use a cotton bud. I didn't go that far, but you know, as far as you want to go. So just in case a wire comes off, when you know they're not going to usually, but you never know. It could be a brittle one there or something just held in. You may catch something and not realise it. You know exactly where it's going to go back. Obviously, you've got to get yourself a soldering iron or someone to do it for you. But at least you know where it goes. So that's one good thing. You're not running around trying to dig out where that wire's going to. Okay, yes, I've given it a clean there, as you can see. You know, it's come up quite well considering. Like I say, I didn't go too mad. Now we're going to look in front of this. Just here, you look at this front panel here. There's a gap. There's always a kind of gap in between, like the glass and the back kind of plate here. And as you can see in this picture here, it's gathered quite a bit of dust. They get in there, like the dust gets in there. And yeah, you could leave it in there, I suppose, but you know, why not take it apart and just give it a little clean? It's fairly straightforward to do. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to take all these dials, all these front knobs come off. Apart from this one, it's got a little screw in it. These tuning dials normally got a little screw. Sometimes the selector has as well. So just get a little screwdriver, undo that, and once you've undone it, just do the screw back up a little bit, because obviously you want to clean these and you don't want that screw falling out on the floor because they're so tiny. So we took all the front of these off. Then we're going to undo these. The base has got like a nut on it. The function's got a nut on it, and the volume control to the side of it's got a screw, and the tuning has got a screw as pictured here. So they come off. The front panel comes off. As you can see, them selector kind of switches at the front that does loudness, muting, mono and source. They're kind of stuck to the front panel. So anyway, that's all off. Yeah, so now what we've got to do, we're going to have to undo these screws here to get to the dust. So yeah, we'll just undo these screws here, and two of the screws actually hold like a silver kind of like bracket in place. And that's, you know, that comes undone. You can put it upwards, put it to the side if you want to, but you can actually unclip it from inside. It's just a little clip. You're easy to undo it, and you're easy to put it back, so no worries there. Okay, so that's out. So then we got to that. All you're going to have left is just this front black kind of unit, so to speak, like with the panel on the front. So you just pull that out and put it on the, you know, on the desk or whatever, and just give it a clean, like the front and back of this glass. And also inside, I went along with the brush first of all, then a damp rag inside, and just give it a clean. You're not going to get every single piece of dust out because there's going to be dust floating around your room and all that stuff, but you're going to get like 99% of it out, 95%. So it's going to look a lot better than what it is. So that's that. It's just a picture here. I'm going to show you this picture here. You can actually see where the two front lamps go. So I haven't replaced them because I haven't got any replacement parts for them, and it wasn't really worth ordering because I'm going to sell it on. And it's straightforward for someone else when they go to replace it themselves, let them sort it out. It's only going to put the cost up when I come to sell it, and you know, it's going to work fine. And like I say, when they go, they can sort that out. Okay, so yeah, we're going to put it all back together, and once we put it all back together, we're going to we're going to adjust the DC bias, and we're going to check the DC offset as well. I've got a separate video how to do this in more detail on the channel, but we're going to do it really quickly here. As you can see, there's the manual. It tells you your 2 points there just very quickly. It's the left the resistor 663, the right resistor 664 for the left channel, and just make sure your meter's on millivolts. Make sure you set your meter to millivolts. Take your time. I use crocodile clips, as you can see in this picture here, to do this channel. Yeah, just take your time, get the crocodile clips in there, double check they're not shorting out. You've got all the time in the world before you turn the unit on. Obviously, when you're doing all this, make sure you've got the unit off and unplugged. And the volume, when you come to do it, I usually put it on auxiliary, volume straight down, bass and treble on flat, 0, in the middle, should I say. Okay, so as you can see, the right hand side there measured 54.2, the manual said 40 millivolts, so I'm going to adjust that variable resistor shown by the yellow arrow till I get 40 or thereabouts. You could be there all day backwards and forwards because it starts fluctuating a bit, but as you can see, got it down to 39. Going to go with the left hand side, then again, there you go, 55.8 to start off with. Adjust that resistor there shown by the yellow arrow. We've got that down to 39.4, so that's near enough. Going to check the speaker offset now. On the right speaker, I've done this from inside the amplifier. You can do it from the outside on the terminals. I've done it from the inside on the terminals. 23.2 on the right hand side and 5.5 on the left. Now I did go back and actually change, start adjusting that DC bias again, just for a little bit of, just wanted to see if I could move them figures at all, and that was pretty much where they're going to be anyway, so I put everything back to where it was, 39.4, 39 on the DC bias, and the offset still stayed the same. Ideally you would want to bang both the same, but this is not miles apart, you know what I mean. A lot of people say that these channels like are mates when they leave the factory. They start off as mates, and over a course of time they start maybe drifting apart a little bit, but still keeping in touch. That's the main thing. If we got to like one of them on 5 and the other one 100 millivolts, then we're starting to worry a little bit, but they're well within the ballpark here, so nothing to worry about there. So that's that, and it also depends, how this left the factory, like how close they were. You don't know. That's where they could have been. They could, in the factory they got a ballpark figure where things have got to be. I just want to sling a picture up here. Don't laugh. This is me going back a few years ago now. This is when I used to work for a firm in the UK, and we used to do low-end HiFi. Low-end. It was low-end HiFi at the time, as you can see, maybe by the unit on the desk. And you used to have they used to give you like a ballpark figure, and then some things may go through bang on where it should be, and some things would be off. You know what I mean? It could be off by, but this is off quite easy, 20 millivolts, that kind of thing. We've got meters there, and they're ever like 2 marks on the meter where you can be, kind of thing, and it can be off, and it depends. Worked with some fantastic people there, I must admit. You know what I mean? I joined there not knowing anything really. I don't know how I got to the department, that particular department, but I did. And some people really helped me out, but depends what kind of mood they're in. You know what I mean? You go to work some days and you can't be bothered. You know what I mean? Some people are like that. You know what I mean? You do get you cheesed off or whatever. So that adjusting things could be like, you know what I mean, a bit out here and there. I'm not saying that, we've got some great, obviously some high-end stuff where you can buy an high-end items, you're paying $2 grand, $3 grand or something like that for an amplifier. Then these are going to be spot on, like, you know what I mean? These are going to be spot on. But these are mass produced rather than slowly produced, where they do this high-end stuff. You're paying for the time, you know what I mean? You're paying for the parts, time, etc., research, all that stuff. But these would have been knocked together fairly quickly, I suppose, in Japan. Like I say, got a ballpark figure to play with. So this could have been pretty much how it left the factory anyway. I just wanted to mention that. Okay, yes, I've covered that. We looked inside and everything else. So how did it sound? How did this unit sound? I mean, I'm going to look at this unit. Look at this unit. I think this is a fantastic looking unit. It really is. It's timeless, isn't it? This, cause you could place this anywhere, really. You know what I mean? This is an absolute timeless kind of look this receiver's got. It kind of reminds you, I think, like of an old valve receiver. If it had a silver top, metal silver case top, you'd be mistaken this maybe is a valve receiver than an actual transistor one. I'm going to start off with the bad points, I suppose. When I say bad, it's not at the end of the world kind of thing, but the treble is low on this. The treble, could be do more treble in this, definitely. I've paired it up here with these Gal speakers. If you're on the site, these are quite a bright speaker. These are bright, these speakers, and they works fine with these. I would say it works fine with them, and you could still maybe notch. I mean, you could probably still notch that treble up one on these speakers, even though this is quite bright. So on a dull pair of speakers, if you've got speakers that are not bright or dull, especially if you've got a dull pair of speakers, you're going to be struggling with this. You know what I mean? You're going to be struggling a bit. You know, like for instance, them Wolfdale Diamond 9s I did a review on. They are a dull speaker. They're very bass forward, and this sounds rubbish. You know what I mean? It sounds so muffled in a box kind of thing. You know, you have that treble full on. You know, and you don't really want to put it there. That's the kind of thing that you're going to have it to get some kind of reasonable sound out of them speakers. With emissions, floor standards I've got downstairs, this was okay. They're not a bright, some people call them a bright speaker, I wouldn't call them a bright speaker. But on, you know, even with them, I was still tempted to push this maybe on 1, 2, you know what I mean, to get them to liven up a bit. The bass, you know, so the treble's okay, you know what I mean, so it's just a bit on the dull side. The treble could be a bit bright. What I would say though is when you push this up, it doesn't really get tinny like some amplifiers and mushy like some amplifiers can do. It kind of holds itself together and doesn't go too far, so to speak. Detail was good, you know what I mean, the detail was, it wasn't as detailed as the Sansui 331 I got, but the detail was quite good still quite a good detail on it, you know what I mean. Vocals, everything else the vocals sounded really nice. The vocals sounded fine on this, they really did. The bass is fine, you know what I mean. The bass is it's another one of them controls where you could go full on and it don't go overpower. It's not an overpowering bass. That's one good thing. It's not an overpowering. It's like a rounded. As the more you turn it up, the more rounded it kind of gets, you know, with the bass. Yeah, so the bass was fine. Just let down, I think, with a little bit. The treble department let it down. Like I say, the detail was fine, you know. I mean, it weren't quite as good as it weren't as good as the Sansui 331. I didn't think. It's quite a sweet sounding, not quite as sweet as the Sansui 331, but quite a sweet sounding amplifier. Like I say, fairly detailed in that. So all in all, you know, I mean, it's quite good. The radios needs a good aerial on the radio, very good aerial on the radio. Need a decent aerial. This bit of wire's still okay, but it's got to be nearly spot on. Some radios you can tune in, and the old stereo comes in and that and whatever. This has got to be near enough bang on for the stereo light to come on this receiver light to kick into stereo. Not very forgiving, so to speak, but a decent aerial and you'll be all right. You know what I mean? You know, if you're near a transmission line or whatever. So the radio sounded nice. You know, I mean, it did sound nice. The phono stage is pretty good. Pretty much kept in with the rest of the receiver. Really, that kind of sound. You know, kept in. Yeah, still it's a nice sound on the phono. Don't forget this is bottom of the range still. Back in its day, still bottom of the range. But all in all, quite a good receiver. You know what I mean? It's still, you know, still quite nice. You know, it's a lot worse ones than this. That's for certain. You know, I mean, it's a nice looking all round. It's quite a nice receiver, really. And I think what you're going to pay for it on eBay, probably £70–80 for a second hand one. This one's in quite good condition as it happens, and with a little bit of a service I'd call off, gift it, you know, just spruced it up and got it back to where it should be, kind of thing. The only thing I haven't done is replace the bulb, so like I say, someone else can do that at a later stage. For £80 or thereabouts, you know, you've got yourself a fairly good receiver, I think, you know what I mean, something to, you know, it's going to, you know, stand you in good stead, so to speak. So yeah, I think that really, you know, really covers this. I'd recommend it, you know, if you're looking around for one of these, and like I say, the looks is going to be a great part of this receiver as well. I definitely recommend this receiver. Okay, but just one quick thing, sorry I keep on about it, but make sure you've got a fairly bright pair of speakers. If you've got a dull pair, if you've got an okay pair, that's probably going to be okay. You've got to say a bit of play on the treble, but if you've got a dull pair of speakers, you know, they're not that bright, then don't buy this or change the speakers, one of the two. Okay, I'll say thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon.